3, 2.
Ready? What do you say?
So anyway, that's why you never fly a kite over Lake Titicaca.
Wait.
Ooh.
Wait. Okay. So you know what? We're gonna talk about that later because
This is episode 126
What?
of the ZZP
Man.
Power Hour.
where did you get a kite? Okay.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Today we got
Oh, y'all already know it's Ryan D at the place to be.
his name today is actually Ralph Lauren because he's looking straight out of a catalog.
Ooh,
Look
fresh,
good,
fresh.
ladies and gentlemen. Got a new shirt, some new swag going on.
Yeah, he's got
Here
the
for you.
swag on, and we got Mr. Tim B,
Boosted beak.
Boosted Beak, as Mike has now claimed him. And,
No. Ryan D started that.
Okay,
stuff.
Ryan D started it.
Mike carried that on. Okay.
Tim is
Yep,
flown a
I'm
kite
here.
over it. All right.
Not wrong.
Tyler V at ZZP, same guy, different week.
Randy O, nobody knows. I also work here.
Yeah.
And today we're talking about Ecotec's.
Ecotec.
And we might get into the new garbage Ecotec.
I mean, first let's talk about who has blown up the most of them. Here.
I
Don't.
am.
Why are you trying to come at me immediately?
I'm just looking at everybody.
Listen
I've
here,
blown up.
listen.
I've only blown up one, so it was just my 2.2.
I've
Stock
never
wrap wash.
actually blown up one. The
Ooh.
LSJ was close. The bearings were not
Ooh,
happy
not
after.
We'll fix that next week.
What?
What?
No.
No, that
No.
looks good. Listen, I may have been chasing horsepower numbers for many years. Does it count before?
You know what?
when
I
I was
think
a-
you win this.
I do win this for sure.
I didn't even. It wasn't even a loaded statement.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
was thinking, and I'm like, dang it, I really haven't blown up any either.
No.
I've shaken a whole bunch of them apart, but most of the time the clutch is the first thing to go.
Yeah.
So I've killed a
Yeah.
lot of clutches.
Yep.
I have, when I was originally a customer, I did stock block stuff. I did a lot of guinea pigging. So for those that don't know,
Yeah.
I was a customer before, so I did a ton of guinea pigging for ZZPerformance.
Yeah, you
And
were one of the first
Yeah.
really fast Cobalt guys.
Yeah, so I was down racing everything I possibly could in Chicagoland streets, and stuff was fast then.
Should have had some GoPros back then.
Oh man, I wish.
They would have been in 5P.
Yeah,
Two,
but
240p.
But- yeah, I raced a lot. I remember one blew up on the dyno here when I didn't even have it.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, that's fun. The next time I got it back, I blew it up racing a Gixxer 750. I won that race, by the
Ooh.
way. But on a let off, I gave him a smoke cloud. Like, oop.
Ooh, the old Bo Cobb.
The
Yep,
old
yep,
Bo
the
Cobb
old Bo
went on
Cobb.
there. So, yeah,
So what's your number?
I don't
Have you?
want to
Have you-
count. It's like, hey, add up all the mods you've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want
You
to
don't
think
wanna
about
do
that. I
that.
literally
Yeah.
could have bought a different car. Like a very nice different car. So
Yeah.
we don't think about that. It's like, like whenever you die, we're not gonna tell Eric about all the stuff you bought.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna literally be like that.
Yeah, we're gonna.
So-
If Tyler dies, we have to clear out his garage
Yes.
before the
Before.
funeral.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
just get everything.
get it out of
before-
Yeah. I think it's
We're
still.
gonna have a yard sale of Ecotec parts.
I'm fairly certain it's still under 10.
Okay.
Wait, are we counting my LTG
Oh yeah,
too?
you're well under.
Oh, not that far.
Yeah, I don't think well under 10.
Yeah, it's not well under. It may be a little bit, but if we
man.
include the LTG, well, 'cause
No,
we were,
well,
it's an Ecotec.
It is, but it's not. We're
that-
we're talking specifically family 2.
Okay, we're talking
Ecotec.
family two.
if we're talking
You say
ATS,
You
I
say
definitely
Gen-
blown up more than
yeah,
you.
Gen 3 LTG stuff is.
Yeah, that's something totally different. But no, that should be decently under 10 still.
Yeah.
Very, very decently under 10.
And let's just go over so the viewers know what Family 2 Ecotecs have we all owned.
Oh yeah.
Start with you.
I have owned a 2005 L61 22
Yep.
Cobalt. I've owned my 07 Silver LSJ, and then I've owned the Snowball, my 09 Cobalt SS.
That's it.
I've
Wait,
owned
easy.
a 2004 Redline, a 2005 Redline, 2008 Cobalt, 2 Saturn Skies,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
and an LNF sedan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, are we counting the ones that you own for less than 2 months? Are
I
we
haven't
gonna count
owned
those?
any less than 2 months.
What about the black sedan? I thought the black sedan.
I had that for a while. I had that for like almost a year.
Yeah. It was.
It was
It
that
never
long?
ran. It never ran, but yeah.
Okay.
It was waiting on install bay time. It was waiting on Bo.
Was that the blue one?
It was
That was
like
the black
That was
one.
the
Yeah,
the
blue one.
black
It was
wasn't
like-
here for that long.
we
It
did
was like
shop
that
The
long.
stuff.
blue one.
We
No,
had
we
pistons
had
in
it for
and
like
then
almost
left
a year.
like 3 days.
The blue one, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I'm talking about the
Blue
black,
one was
the black
cool.
one. The black one we had
Oh,
before
Oh,
that.
the black one.
I was-
I didn't even count that
Yeah,
one.
the
That's what I was
257
talking
car.
about. Yeah, that one.
256.
That one, because that one went to a KO4. That one you only had like that 2 months. Like you
Yeah,
didn't
I
have
didn't have that one even that long probably.
Yeah,
I bought that car fully modded, but blown up, I think, and then put a different engine in.
no, it was
and-
no. Was that one? I thought there was just like a cam phaser issue with it.
It might have been.
It was some cheap fix, and you drove it.
Yeah.
You were like, "Oh my god, this thing is fast."
Yeah.
you know.
I've owned 07 Cobalt 22 LT, 2 2004 Ion Redlines, 2 2006 LSJ Cobalts, 2008 LNF Coupe, 2 2008 HHRs. I think that's it.
Is anybody doing the counting?
No, I ran.
I think Tyler got me.
Tyler
I can't count.
Tyler
Pop
has
off my
the
shoes
most.
so I can.
Get the toes out.
Tyler has the most Ecotec like swap overs
Yeah.
and
Yeah, you know.
scoogadies.
And he still has a bunch
Yeah,
too.
it's still got 3, 4.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you quickly changed it.
Yeah. I've only had the one really. I had my LAP. I had a
Yeah.
2.2 that was like stock turbo. KO4.
Stock turbo.
I put a KO4 on it for like 2
A
months.
day?
And then destroyed the motor, and I was like, "All right, I'm gonna put a 7065 on it now."
So for
And I think you've had the widest wheels on a Cobalt.
Get
of
for
us.
sure. Really, I was gonna explain the history. So for those who don't know, Randy is kind of an old school Cobalt guy. If you guys are on CobaltSS.net,
Mhm.
things like that. Randy there came after me, so I mean he's a little new blood.
Yeah,
But still a
not
message forum guy.
Still,
Oh, yeah.
still is best.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Yep.
So Randy was the original one that kind of figured out a lot of suspension stuff, and there are certain coils over there that he has made, and
Yeah.
he actually did a big turbo, way too big turbo on his LAP 2.2 base
I
model.
did.
That was a stance car actually.
Yeah,
It was
Auto as
an
well.
auto
And
stance car.
auto, yeah. We just double stacked clutches.
Yeah, and
Center.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. But
But the car was super fun. I can't tell you wheel horsepower numbers. I know like the math pounds per minute should have been like close upper 500s according to airflow.
But you probably have like G-Tech numbers.
Yeah. Yep. It was actually it was written on an EEPROM. Tim knows about EEPROMs.
Oh
About
my
tuning
God.
EEPROMs, right?
Socketed your ECM.
Oh my God. Boys, we're throwing out snipes here, left and right.
Yeah,
Here we go. I mean, we're ready. Listen here. Okay, Jeff Gordon, act like I didn't see him. We were talking, Jeff. Listen, guy, we're not going to get on you right now, Jeff Gordon.
Oh,
We appreciate you for who you are. You're wrong, but we appreciate you for who you are.
and Jeff,
Stick-
if you were wondering, they were 10.5 inches.
Yep.
10.5 inch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Widest.
I
Yeah.
was
had
picturing like a
had omni camber and all that
yeah.
stuff.
I ran like -10
Woo.
all the way around on that car.
You guys still find if you guys type in stance white Cobalt sedan, it'll still come up.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll see Randy looking much younger and with much more hair.
Hair on my head. I have much more hair on my face than I did.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's
You-
true.
You traded. You traded.
TBS or turbo swap? I'm always gonna
Turbo.
say turbo.
Turbo.
Turbo's better.
Turbo
Guys,
things.
the TVS. Yeah, blowers. I'm unique. Weh. But no, you will make more power at the
Was that-
same boost level.
Was that
with
your
turbo.
impersonation of a blower car?
Yes.
See, I still like TVSs. I still think a tastefully modded blower car is cool.
I
They're not
love them
bad.
as well.
They're not bad.
I just think that the most people don't do the extra steps needed to make a TBS really good. They just take a bolt together, M62 car, they put a TVS on it, and they're like, wow, 20 more horsepower.
Yeah. That's saying like to make a TVS really quick, like to make it equal our entry level kit, you have to.
Yeah.
You can't.
You
yeah,
can't.
you can't.
You just
like,
can't.
You have to build the engine, do all this crazy stuff for it.
It's just like an uphill battle.
Yeah.
When you supercharge it, or when
Yeah.
4-cylinder supercharged.
It's an uphill battle as soon as you go down from a stock pulley.
pretty much.
Like
Hey Connor, yes, if you put it on your order to include the 3D printed brackets, I still have a few of them. I'd love to get rid of them.
Yep.
So yeah, hit us up. But guys, so we have the Ecotec. We talked about kind of our own history, but Tim, you're going to be kind of a big person talking. I think Matt Meekoff may be in the chat, but kind of drag us through the whole history
Of ZZP,
of ZZP and and like get into the Ecotec stuff.
I mean,
from the 300.
honestly, it's not a very professional story.
That's what we're here
That's
for.
all right.
It's we were like a group of buddies. Like ZZP was like a group of buddies that started making car parts.
Yeah.
So, we like the first LNF we bought was Matt's LNF, which we still have.
Yep.
And we bought it from an auction. It had like paint marker all over it, basically saying every panel was like wrinkled and smoked in an accident. And we got the car, and it needed like a bumper cover. We wiped all the markers off, and we never saw a crease or anything.
That thing is still mint.
Yeah.
It's a
very
super
good.
nice car.
Yeah,
Somebody had a friend at a body shop.
And
Yeah.
Total this out.
And
Yeah.
it's a perfect car to race too because it's a non-sunroof coupe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep,
And-
like top.
It's like it is good. But even still, like I do remember hearing stories too, Tim, of ZZP getting into the LSJ market. And I know that was supposed to be an uphill
Yeah.
battle itself too.
That was too. So we got our 04 Redline. That was another accident car because we're all like buddies.
Yeah.
Trying to do this company. So we're buying stuff as cheap as we can. Well, it was an 04 Redline. So what does that mean? 100% the frickin' intercooler pump is wired backwards.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this car just keeps not performing very well and not performing very well. Like we're doing all these mods and like it's not doing well on the dyno. And the intercooler pump works. It makes noise, but we didn't know that that could be wired backwards.
Uh-huh.
So like it was an uphill battle.
Right,
We got like a custom like high helix blower from Eaton back in the
I
day.
remember those.
That was super cool.
H62,
And we learned a lot of clutch lessons. Like, holy crap, I broke so many clutches. I broke probably 5 or 6 clutches in my Ion.
Dang.
Like, we got like one good pass out of it, and that was like a 12-2 at 119. Like, back in like, I don't know,
That's still
2007 or 8.
That's still one of the I think it was only just beaten by Jason.
It was
Yeah.
just beaten.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's painful. Like, I was definitely the first one to
20 years
rev an LSJ
Not bad.
past $8,000.
Yeah.
Like, I've definitely been beyond 8192 in an LSJ many times. I believe there's like a multiplier in the ECM, and you can go actually above it now.
Also, HP
But-
tuners is going much further. They've gotten more tables.
Yeah.
Like things were.
I mean, we were racing them before I was tuning them.
Yeah.
Matt tuned my Ion back in the day, and it made like 400.1 wheel horsepower.
Yeah, it made 400. That was
on a
2.4.
Mustang dyno.
That was a 2.4 setup, right? Yeah.
That was a 2.4 bottom end with an LSJ head and cams and a
M62 still though.
stock M62 minus inlet porting. All I did was
okay.
hand port the inlet for the LS4 throttle body. That's all I did.
Yep.
It had like a 3.5 or 4 inch inlet or intake on it into the wheel, into the like fender well. I did all the fancy fog light mods to get airflow to it.
Yep.
Like it was a fun car, but my shift times on that 12.2 pass were 1.2 seconds
Ooh.
because clutch
Because
problems.
you couldn't. Yeah.
I couldn't I'd rev it to like 85, $9,000, and then I would just pull the shifter back and wait for it to go into gear, and then dump the clutch and take off again.
No.
So 12.2 at 119 with two 1.2 second shift times.
That was
So that's where the no mechanical sympathy started.
Yes. No, it started way before that. That started when I got a driver's license.
Yeah. No, but that's cool. So coming from a customer standpoint is that I just started getting on the forums. Like people heard the story a million times, but I was getting my first car. I was playing a lot of video games. Like, Dad, I'm gonna get a 350Z. You're not bringing Japanese SHIT into my household. I'm like, oh, well, that doesn't leave me a lot. And then this is Need for Speed Most Wanted came out. The first car is a Cobalt. So I was looking at it on the forums, CobaltSS.net, like really getting involved with everything, learning everything, just soaking up all the knowledge I could. And so, I didn't know about ZZP, but I got on the forums, but there was this guy called Zoomer, in 2007 on the forum. All he would do is come on the forums and talk to people and be a super wrestler. I'm like, this guy's a dick. Like, what? Like, I never said anything to him. Like, this guy's a dick and blah, blah, but all the other ZZP guys are super helpful. I had never purchased a ZZP part at that time, so I eventually got my 07 LSJ right at college. And I was like, no one makes 3-inch intake. I want the loudest whine possible. So I got the RD Fab's 3-inch intake.
RD Fab.
It's 6 weeks to make that.
Woo!
Yeah, like, it wasn't just an out of sight. They had a bunch. They just handmade each one of them. So I had that.
Made to order
Yeah.
intakes.
And I was like, oh, my friends are JDM guys. I'm going to get a Megan Racing exhaust. Bleh. Bleh.
Did it come out of the bumper crooked too?
A little bit. No.
Did you buy it from Slow Boy Racing?
No, I bought it right from Megan. I went to the site and got it. So I got that. Then I got the MZR, the MRZ, like engine dress up kit with the strut bar.
Yeah.
And then I found other Cobalt LSJ guys, and we made Team 4 banging, and we had our logos all over the car.
No.
It was a thing. It was a thing, but it was.
This is a tangent, but every time I see a super clean car and they don't have decals anywhere, but then they have the stupid team name banner right there on the windshield,
on the
it
bottom
makes me
of it.
so
The
mad.
crappy locally hated.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No one knows you.
Nobody knows who you are.
No one knows
You're
you are.
not hated by anybody.
Yeah.
Ah, J-Body Performance. Yep.
Yeah. I remember
J-Body.
They had the noodle header.
Yep.
J-Body Performance had the noodle header,
Yep.
and that was on my wish list. And then I got the GM Stage 2 kit, and Crane Engine Depot was nearby. Like, oh man.
Yeah.
But
Man, remember that GM Racing exhaust manifold?
Yeah. The
extrude hone
hone.
GM. Yep.
Extrude hone.
I remember I had never heard of it, and then 2 or 3 years ago, some guy posted on one of the Cobalt forums, and he pulled a header from a LSJ car at a yard, and someone was like, I want to buy that.
Yeah.
The guy's like, what? Okay, sure, $50 shipped or whatever,
He was
and
like-
it was a GM Racing one.
Yep.
That's why you can kind of notice them, but it's
Pretty cool. Like
GM tried to support
They
they
did.
tried,
Yep.
but the Stage 3 kit was a letdown and a failure.
well,
Yeah.
That was for those that don't know, I mean, I think that's why ZZP originally came up with their stage kit, because
Yep.
the GM Stage 3 kit put you down to a 299 pulley. You had a different PCM that allowed for nitrous setup, but then the PCM couldn't be tuned anymore. And then you also lost your AC.
Yep.
So, and at this time, I don't know if you guys remember a little bit about the history with it. The Cobalt was actually out the same time as the Acura RSX Type
Yep,
S, and then the SRT4 Neon.
Uh-huh.
So at that time, it was right between them, because the SRT4 made the most horsepower out of them.
Mhm.
It made 240. Especially in the later years when
Man,
they came.
those things were monsters.
They were
making out.
tough. And then you had the RSX come in like 190 horsepower.
Yeah.
The Cobalt was right between them. RSX, nice interior, nice overall quality. Cobalt was right between that. And the Neon was just whatever. But I remember back in the early days of the Cobalt game, it was SRT4 versus Cobalt all day long.
Oh yeah.
The SRT4 guys will come on our forums talking all the crap to us.
And if
blah,
you
You
blah.
could still a Facebook page like
There
the
is, yeah.
SRT4 versus.
If you
Cobalt
could
S.
beat an SRT4 in a blower LSJ,
You were
you
the
were
man.
like king.
You were the man. So, but yeah, I know ZZP at the time was, getting into that, and they saw this kid and they were like, whatever. So keep telling us about that, and then tell us about the transition to the LNF, like you were talking about too.
Yeah, it's we pretty much got into the LNF at about the same time as the LSJ.
Yeah.
Oh really?
It was pretty crazy because I remember I needed a newer vehicle. And I was going to dealerships looking at new vehicles.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at an Ion Redline, and I thought it was neat. And I worked at ZZP, but ZZP didn't even know about
Yeah.
Ecotec 4-cylinders
Yeah.
at this time. We were working
3800s
making
all-
3800 parts
All day.
and it's like, man, I wish I would have just bought that car.
Yeah.
But yeah, we learned a lot of really hard lessons.
Oh, yeah.
Really hard lessons, because back then we didn't have the R&D team that we have now. So we were like looking to other vendors to make a lot of stuff. Like we would make intakes. Like if it was a tube with a filter, we could make that. If it was a header, a header is kind of the same thing. If it's a tube with flanges, we can make it. But when it comes to like heat exchangers, we're like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Back in that day, we used to buy radiators, cut them into threes, and then weld our custom intakes on them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And glue. We used to glue top plates on them to cover the fins that were left on them.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But they performed
performed.
like 100%.
Yeah.
Like that, one of our heat exchangers from back then performs just as well as one of our heat exchangers now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just look a lot nicer.
just a lot more
they just look
refined.
nicer
Yeah.
now.
For sure.
Now we can actually like make it, we use a core with the right size. But there was so many lessons. Like I remember we learned like stuff that you guys will make fun of us now for, but when you take a 3-inch flex, where do you weld to it?
Oh yeah.
We just welded the outside of it and sent them.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden all the Ecotec guys are pulling flexes out.
Mhm.
And you have to weld them on the inside.
Side, yeah.
To the actual, the structure of
Mhm.
it. So like we learned a lot of really hard lessons.
Yeah.
It was rough. Like our downpipes are ripping in half. Like so many failures. I mean, there was a point where Zoom had a meeting with Matt and myself and like one other guy that doesn't work with us anymore, and he was like, I need you guys to like work extra, and I can't pay you more. That was mentioned last week. That was about the Ecotec.
Yep.
Yeah.
And and we had to pull our head out of our butt and learn a lot of hard lessons. And
And
it
and
was
still
rough.
to this day, Zoom talks about how when first getting into it, kind of thought that the LSJ was a glass engine.
Yeah.
He
Yes,
compares
yeah.
it now to the LTG.
It's like history is repeating itself.
Yeah, and obviously we figured that out. I mean, stock block record on an LSJ now is like 540 or
Yeah,
something.
it's mid fives.
Insane. Like
and I bet if we tried it, we could like way surpass that.
I know
Oh,
we
yeah.
could.
Like way
you
surpass
just
that.
keep the torque down and rev
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
mess
most of
around.
it was that darn intercooler pump. The intercooler pump being wired backwards in every single 04.
Yep.
Most 05 ions.
Uh-huh.
Quite a bit of 05 cobalts. Like, and when you're modding a car, the oldest of that car, when it's a new mod market, is always the one that's welded is what's being modified.
Oh,
the
yeah,
most.
yeah.
Well,
Because people are
the first
afraid
year.
of warranties.
Yeah, it's the first year.
So it's like 2007, and people are starting to work on their 2005s, and they're blowing up constantly because their intercooler pumps are either dead or wired backwards.
Yep.
It was painful.
Yeah.
Who let that through at GM? Like,
Such a huge-
they had what? 97. Well, I mean, even in the Series 1 3800s were supercharged, but no intercoolers. And then finally, they're like, "All right, we got an intercooler."
A
And then,
centrifugal pump.
yeah,
Yep.
Like it does not spin backwards.
Yeah.
No.
Like it moves, I don't know, 10% of the fluid when
Yeah.
it spins backwards.
it doesn't do anything. It just
like
and then some guy in the shop or at the GM plant was like,
Oh, let's make these wire harness like this.
He
Boop.
probably like hooked it up. They probably bench test it where they're like power, it made a noise, cool.
Yeah, they actually
Send it
didn't
on
like
down
test
the
it out.
line.
Yeah.
I still don't know if GM even knows about that huge mistake.
I'm sure they do, but they
There
there
probably
was
don't
never-
care.
there was no
recall or
No
TSP
recall?
or anything.
No.
Yeah.
It wasn't
But-
like the ignition like on the Cobalt.
Yeah, I mean that's
I'm
true.
still
Yeah.
getting notices for that. I don't even know the Cobalt anymore.
Yep, I'm gonna take the snowball in to go get that.
We
warranty.
want to make a video of
We need
taking
to
the
stick a
snowball.
GoPro
Yeah,
in
we're
the
gonna be
car,
like, hey guys, you guys keep sending these little things and take them all out of the glove box, whatever. But yeah, so I mean, around this time too is like when you guys were doing this. So I remember at the time your old competitor Intense that tried to compete in the 1300 game was also now in the Ecotec game,
Mhm.
and I remember them because when you type in supercharged Cobalt stage kits,
Mhm.
they had a stage 5 and 6.
Stage 5.
I was like,
Yep.
oh man, that thing must make like so much power. It's a higher number.
I got
Oh.
a stage 5 intense PCM in the other day as a core, and I read the file and I was like,
Oh, no.
It was
So
real
ugly.
bad. And the thing about it, with no heat exchanger in that kit came with like a 2.6 pulley.
Yeah.
yeah.
It was bad.
real
It was
bad.
real
We
bad.
like when we started making parts for the car. Like obviously, a pulley was one of the first
Yeah.
things we made. I couldn't keep 2.5 pulleys on the shelf.
Oh, I'm sure you couldn't.
People
Yes.
were going from their 335 pulley, right?
Yeah.
335. It's been so long. I'm actually like forgetting a lot of the basics, but like they're going from their 335 pulleys right to 2.5
As
pulleys
small as possible.
because we made it.
Yeah.
Like we
I
had a
drunk the
snout
boost.
machining tool, like a nifty thing. I don't know. Do we still sell
We
it?
still have it.
still
We
sell
still
it.
have it.
We had this snout machining tool that just makes a mess of your engine bay, but
Yeah.
allows you to run whatever pulley that you irresponsibly
we
want
want
to
to
run.
Because nobody's gonna pull their blower off to do
Yeah.
it. They're just like, yeah.
So And I do remember that too, because I remember saying, "Oh, ZZP sells a small pulley. I should probably get that one day." Yeah, it's a smaller pulley.
Oh, it's so good that you didn't.
Yeah.
Especially with the numbers that Tyler makes with his
Stock.
LSJ car with
Yeah,
a stock
stock.
pulley on
Yeah.
it.
Well, too, I mean, recently when you guys went to Taylor Dragon, you met a customer that's like says, "Oh yeah, ZZP blew up my car because they sold me a 255 pulley way back in the day." Right,
Yeah.
brother.
That guy is still mad at us.
Yeah.
He's still mad at us like 15 years later.
Like,
And I'm like, dude, just because I have it on the website doesn't mean that you have to buy
yeah,
it.
you don't gotta buy a small.
Yep.
Hey, Mike, don't forget those comments. He asked a question to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
So.
what did Mike?
Asking about the Basil Hayden.
Yeah, what
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
Basil Hayden it is.
All right.
Anthony,
Kentucky Straight.
Kentucky Straight.
Kentucky Straight. Show that to the camera. They're
Hey,
not going to
Mom.
be able to see what that is. The bottle.
Oh, it's frozen. Dang it. No, the chat's working.
It's
Yeah.
working.
works.
Yeah, Adam
But,
Project.
Seems like it.
But yeah, so then what got me again as a customer, and Ty, I know you came a little bit later, but I've been watching this, and then I was one of those blowers are way more unique.
Man,
Dumb.
I still think that's...
So unique
Not
doesn't
against
mean
it.
good.
yeah, exactly.
They
Or
can
better,
be
rather.
great.
They can be okay.
Yeah.
Unique is never the best.
I know.
No, it's not.
Unique-
That's the definition of unique.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, it's
Like,
different.
not the best option, but cool
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was too. So I got in a crash with my LSJ, and then I got my LNF Cobalt. And at this time, I was really getting into turbo stuff and learning that stuff. And ZZP one day, Matt M posted on the page and was like, "Hey guys, we made a turbo kit for the LNF. It made 420." I'm like, "Oh, go what?"
400. And this is back in
2010,
10.
2010,
Yeah.
2011.
It was a year after we graduated.
Yeah.
400 wheel
So I
out
was
of
like,
out of a 4-cylinder back then was like,
it was a ton. Like, that was a
Say
lot
what?
of power. So I'm like, wait, I can make 400 horsepower. So then I went to my group of Mitsubishi friends, and that's what I ran with, a bunch of DSM Mitsubishi guys.
yeah.
There was one guy who was like, "No, you don't. ZZP ain't showing the full dyno sheet." I'm like, "Wait, but it's all right there." He's like, "No, get the big wheel turbo. That's better." But I was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
"Yeah." So
The
then,
Batmo wheel?
yeah, no, he just
Oh,
it was like a
No, the
first
KO4R.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
back then with 10, he was like, "No, get that one. That'll make more power." I'm like, and then so another
It's
friend
got like a 10-to-1 back pressure ratio, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Send it.
Yeah, just keep
so
going.
at that time, one of the other friends, kind of like the leader of the group, he was like, "Ryan, that guy's trying to keep you slow. ZZP said they can make you 400 horsepower. Go to them."
Yep.
So I did. I went up there. I came with ZZP one random day, ran over a deer, had Matt Meekoff under there, spraying off venison as it was cooking on the dyno.
It smelled great, by the way.
Yeah.
It smelled like it was. I went in there and I'm like, dang, it smells good in here. It was like dead deer all over your exhaust.
A dead
It was
deer on the
hilarious.
full tunnel. It was great. But before
Tasty.
that, they being DSM guys, they said go to Han Racecraft. They're old school.
Ooh,
guys.
God.
So I had a Han Racecraft intake, a Han Racecraft intercooler piping, downpipe, catback, and I had I pretty much had, and then a trifecta tune on the car.
Mhm.
Car was actually pretty quick. It was pretty decent.
Oh, yeah.
But Matt, it's funny. So Matt put the ZZP tune on the dyno. So the car made 275.
Okay.
He put ZZP on the dyno, flashed it, immediately did a pull, made 297. I'm like, oh yeah. Like
Just do
what?
that with computers.
Yeah, like what the heck?
do you
Why
mean?
did you? How do you say? Oh yeah, their tune wasn't that great. I'm like, oh my god,
And Matt's LNF tunes are
insane.
insane.
Yeah.
So he did that. I was like, well, this is gonna be good. So he took all the Han Race car out of the Han Race car stuff, dented my hood like they all do. The intercooler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a 2-piece, and it sits up high. And so what happens is when the engine vibrates, with the T-bolt
Right.
ding. So I had a little
Yep.
pointy guy up there.
Yep.
So I came up here and ZZP made 417. I'm like, well, I want to beat that other guy because you put like 421 on that thing.
Can you give me an extra
Yeah.
degree there?
But then
Matt?
he said, no, it's fine. I promise you like it. It'll be good. I know ZZP turned the power down a little
This
bit.
is
just
way
because
before E85.
Way before. This
This
is
is like
this is
freaking
93
pumping
actually.
3 and on a 252?
S252. That thing spooled 5th gear. That thing was great.
Oh,
How,
yeah,
how
that-
many races did you lose?
None. I literally lost none. Like I went back home. All my friends, they were like, "Oh, Ryan, let's go race." I just got with the night I went home, got a big turbo Evo. He was like one of the faster guys in the group. Lying right next to me, pulled a half car on and held him just the whole way racing. I went around to everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was getting the gas.
And like one of the best cities to street race in, too.
Yes.
Like
I-
Chicago. Like
we were
that
in
is
Chicago.
the place to go.
We traveled to Indiana. There was this. people started making up rumors about how fast this car was. At the time, Performance Auto Works, Dave, I had some friends over there, and they were trying to compete with ZZP for the LNF market stuff. And he was trying to compete with me. So yeah, well, my kid will beat you, beat him too. Pretty much, I could not lose in that first year. It took a lot. I came back and raced people who beat me on stock turbo and beat them. Like it was a thing. That S252 turbo kit. Once again, a properly sized turbo, just making 380, 390 to the tire.
Oh yeah,
that thing was absolutely amazing.
The 252 is a great turbo.
Yes,
and
100%. Like
a little bit of compressor surge.
Oh,
that's why we dropped it.
Yeah.
But it was a great performing turbo.
But that's the thing; it made cool sounds.
Oh,
so
yeah.
as a customer,
I
was happy. I'm like, I'm like,
it's spooling. It's like,
you're like, exactly. I was like, oh, let's go.
Yeah,
But then next year,
those Subaru guys, like, why do Subarus all compressor surge?
Because
all of them do.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah, they do.
But every year I came back and I get, I want a 256 now. All right, there's that. Oh, I want a 250. By the way, I still, for those of you guys that don't know, ZZPerformance at one point in time carried a 259 turbo. And that thing at idle was the loudest.
Yep.
The loudest whistling boy.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. You drive, and like you would be driving, like that's like all the time. Like not even getting not even doing that far.
Like, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
What I would do is I would always short shift the car. So as you're accelerating, you're always like have a decent amount of load.
Yep.
And you just have that semi-truck whistle
Exactly what it
next
was.
to everybody.
Or
And
like
it's
the buses.
So cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like the what is it? The rapid pass buses downtown by our house. It's like
All the time.
Yeah.
everywhere.
I love it.
But to show, and the reason, I mean, again, customer stuff. ZZPerformance at the time, doing Ecotecs and being out there racing and stuff like that. And I had such a good experience because I listened and I was just be a positive customer, and they multiple times stayed hours later after 6 hours to work on the car and finish it. Like, hey, you're out there racing, you're out there doing stuff, we appreciate it, come here, we'll take care of you. And every single time I listened, I was fair, I wasn't a butthead about anything, and ZZP took care of me every single time, like we still do to this day.
like John Kennedy, customer, he's going to be at the Indy half mile this weekend.
Yep, he just
brought his car out for the second year in a row. His engine was a little whooped, so we put a race block in it. He switched from a 7163 to a S257, picked up like a 100 wheel, and I mean, this thing is, I was very grateful. I got to drive it over to take some photos the other day, and man, that F40 LSD, like just driving it down the road, it sounds good. The gate sounds good, and this. He's gonna go have a lot of fun this weekend, but that's
he's got the red digital camo. Like the car stands out.
If you guys didn't see the video, check out the video that we post on it. It's a super cool car. Yeah.
When did we post that?
Yesterday or the day before.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So, but kind of go back to ZZPerformance at this time. ZZP was doing more stuff. So at that time, kind of give us the rundown, Tim, on the car that maybe a lot of our viewers don't even remember, but it's still the 898 wheel horsepower. Two-tone Cobalt.
A lot of people don't know that.
A lot of people don't know. Like that's
but
the OG.
It was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, because right now, like arguably, the Snowball is one of the faces of the ZZP's Ecotec program.
Yeah.
But the two-tone Cobalt was like the OG king of the.
Man, that thing was painful.
Yeah.
That car was like, you guys have no idea, like the tens of thousands of dollars that ZZP spent on just time on that car.
I bet. Yeah.
Mike,
Like
if you have a picture of that car, I don't know if you can post it up or something.
I don't have any pictures of that car.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna say if you can Google it real quick.
We'll post them on our socials at some point in time.
Yeah.
That's a 2006?
2006.
It's
Cobalt.
a 2006 Cobalt SS LSJ. That car has been F35 probably most of its racing days.
Yep.
And then we put a 4T65 in it.
Yep.
Didn't it
Shout out.
had an F40 in it for a short time, didn't it?
It does right now.
It has one right now, but
Gotcha.
like it barely did anything with the F40 on
It did most of it. Like I say, it ran its pass on a GM 40T65.
Yeah.
It was automatic swapped.
It was an automatic swap.
Probably the only
One of the only ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's one.
auto
I know
LSJ?
like at least two of them.
Really?
I know,
Okay.
Like,
there's
we-
another guy in the forum.
We learned like so many torque converter lessons.
Oh, I bet.
Like,
yeah.
we were putting 3800 high stall converters in it, and they weren't doing anything because it's a 2 liter, not a 3.8 liter.
Yep.
You put a 4,000 stall or a 2,500 stall, they stall the same because it's a 2 liter trying to stall this converter.
Yep.
Then we ended up just using the GM Racing
okay.
torque converter that actually stalled, correctly, but had no lockup. But yeah,
okay.
the car made 898. It was one of those things to where Zoom was like, we've got some money saved up. Find out what fails on this engine. I want you guys to responsibly turn it up until it blows up. And they, Matt lifted the head studs at 898 wheel horsepower.
Yep.
That required it was multiple days on the dyno. It started with our off-the-shelf turbo kit, and then it got a bigger intake, and then it got a bigger downpipe. A bigger intercooler, bigger turbo,
bigger fuel system.
Yep.
I have
they
read,
addressed everything as it became a problem.
I have read that ZZP did what thread on CSS.net so many times.
That's what I missed about before. There was so much information there.
So fun to just because it was Matt and former employee Ryan on there just chronicling this to me, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys were just...
The fact that it could be done was insane. And now, that's the video, you have the car friends oh, look, I have this Honda just makes 1,000 horsepower. That was just hey, look, 898 horsepower. That was the video.
And back then, it was just a manual boost controller.
Yep.
So now we have modern... if Zoom were to somehow... I mean, he won't, because we're so far into Ecotec. We're still making parts, but... our customers aren't ever going to approach that type of power level, typically.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to keep going over that. But if we could get a Cortex electronic boost controller on it, because it was the torque that really did it in.
Yeah.
And if you could, tone that down and rev it out and
it would have been. It would probably made more power.
Easy.
Yeah.
We could easy make over 1,000.
Yeah.
Probably in an afternoon now.
And so, kind of go back to that car went through a blower setup, a twin charge setup that ZZP sold for many years, a turbo setup, back to twin charge, and back to it went to 6 or 7 different setups, if not more.
It's pretty funny because people will post hey, I want to turbo my LSJ with the supercharger still, and then I'll post some data in there, and people will laugh at me. And it's I'm not meaning to be arrogant, but I literally have been there, done that.
I saw that yesterday.
Yeah, it was you have to get the past the supercharger and then open up the bypass. And
yeah,
I was that sounds right. Yeah.
The key to LSJ turbocharged is you have to open the bypass valve properly,
and you have
Or
to
it's
have a
just
big
a
old pulley.
gigantic efficiency block.
Yeah,
there.
I mean. Al compound turbos cars, but it's calculated compounding.
Yeah.
It's not just throwing stuff together. Yeah.
If you just turbo a supercharger, you are compound boosting a freaking blower.
Yeah.
We had multiple bypasses fail until we figured out how to limit the boost that we applied to them. And whenever that would happen, the car would lose 60 wheel horsepower, and the IET2s would go through the roof.
I mean, it's just like all of our back pressure data that we get now on our turbos. You have this giant block. I mean, you got a cork in the system. And
Yeah. And so that's why when people email and say, hey, I want a twin charge, I was no, you don't. It is cool for saying you did it, but other than that, it doesn't work better. It works less.
It's dumb because we have watt boxes now, and
properly sized
awesome
turbos. Yeah.
You don't need to twin charge the car. All it does is make a burnout queen.
Yeah.
If you want to do burnout competitions, I guess you can twin charge it, but you can do that with a turbo car
Turbo
too.
technology has came so far.
Massively far.
I was just doing the fuel system on the Drag Sonic the other day, and every time I get a peek at the Zona and look at it for a second, I'm
this big.
It's literally
this big.
Yeah, it's
I'm running one,
sized.
and it's tiny. You go to show and oh, that's not that big for a turbo. Okay, JK, this thing makes 600 wheel.
Yeah.
This ain't an HX40 here.
Yeah, it's not this big and making 300.
Oh, I'm so glad that died.
Freaking
so many people. I still have friends with HX series turbos on there.
HX35 on
DSMs.
One of my Galan friends has an HX35. I'm oh god.
And you look at that turbo, and it is legitimately this big.
Yeah.
Like, the turbine housing is gigantic.
Like, you can't mount that to a manifold and not expect it to crack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's even.
You have to have, like, bracing for the turbos.
Uh-huh.
At
Yeah.
this point, I think Ryan's turbo on his Cobalt is like this, has the smallest footprint
Yeah.
for the most power made.
Yeah, it's like it's literally, guys. It's like this big. Like we have turbo blankets that are bigger than this thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, we
it's,
certainly do.
Yeah, literally, it's going on right now.
I remember the first car I saw was John Shepard's DSM
Yeah.
way back in the day. I went and saw this car. It was, I don't know, man. It was like the 2010s. And I saw this car and I'm like, where's the turbo? And I'm like, that is not
no
the
way.
turbo that he's running 7s on.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
That
He
you
goes
can
out
like
and does
hold
it.
in your hands like this little tiny little guy.
That's
I think
like,
if-
we're all still stuck in the Super 102 mindset. Like, if you don't see something that you can put like 2 of your fists in,
yeah,
you're
it's not
slow,
fast.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's
Wrong.
not it. It is the opposite of that.
Mhm.
I remember I went to Nopi Nationals.
Woo!
Sorry, I'm
Nopi.
old.
Down,
No,
in, down in
Tim.
Atlanta?
Yes,
I've-
it's like
Oh,
I
was
always
there.
wanted to go.
coolest drag event you can go to when it comes to like imports.
Yep.
man.
And the turbos they were running back then were like the turbos were larger than rotary motors that they
Yeah.
were on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yep.
100%.
The turbo was literally larger. It had a bigger footprint than a rotary engine did.
Yeah,
Like,
they were.
Talk
They were.
about
huge.
dating yourself, by the
Yeah.
way.
Hey, I went to a Nopi
Nationals.
too. That
I-
if they brought back Nopi, I would be there tomorrow.
Yes. So would I.
100%.
I was going to go to Nopi after Tail of the Dragon in 2008, but I blew up my truck at Tail of the Dragon
Oh
sad.
boy!
doing donuts.
God dang it, Tyler.
Yeah, that was real dumb.
Just hood rat stuff.
Uh,
Needed that AccuSum.
Yeah, it was a
Poor Colorado.
05 Colorado,
Yep.
5-cylinder.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys,
should have never sold the truck.
I'm gonna kind of jump to the LNF too. So as ZZP was still making all these cars because they were doing the LSJ and LNF stuff side by side, if memory serves.
Yeah, it really
So-
was side by side.
So guys, just so that you know, there's still the 716 wheel horsepower Master LNF. That video we posted not terribly long, maybe about a year ago.
Yeah.
It's still on our page, but that was before any of the technology we have now. That was on not on Opals. That was on
Yep.
stock LNF injectors. The fifth injector.
Uh-huh.
I don't think that was before the F. That was before the 6-piece swap too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that was
Oh,
so
wait.
it was just controlled. We showed that the LNF is just as capable of making big power at the time on
Oh, yeah.
no mods we have now. So
Yep.
we've gotten way more efficient overall. And then Matt loves the LNF. You know, he's talking about how
Oh,
great the
it's-
power bands are,
Yep.
how how much they just don't knock and they can handle so much power. Like overall, what do you guys think? So I know taking out the whole LSJ and LNF preference thing. Do you think that in the marketing of the cars in general that the LNF was a better move to make? Like as far as like going in and putting it into the thing that people want out there in the market.
I'm going to go ahead and just interrupt and
Go for
jump in here and say that the LNF engine is probably the best engine ever made when it comes to 4-cylinder turbos. Sorry.
I agree.
You Honda guys, you can go to H because the LNF is the best 4-cylinder
Well,
turbo engine ever made.
think about, I mean, you think about from GM's catalog and that standpoint. 2008,
Yeah.
260 horsepower.
2007.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2007.
technically 2007. Yeah.
Yep.
So it comes out and 260 horsepower. You could get a factory stage kit, bump that up.
Yep.
But not only that, but the torque. Oh my gosh!
You know how many people freaked out when I said, "Oh, this car makes like you put a tune on it and the car made more torque than horsepower." You know how many people freaked out? They're like,
yeah.
"Excuse me, what do you
That's
mean?"
not possible.
Yeah, a 4-cylinder doing that? No, the car made full torque at 2,000 RPM.
Yeah. I know now because.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, the fact that it was done back then, and it was so reliable, and yeah, they screwed up with the blocks, like the porous block, but it's not as big of an issue. I mean, especially now because
There's Gen 3 blocks
they've
available.
all been addressed.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have.
If
Yep.
your LNF doesn't have porous block at this point,
It
like
doesn't.
it
You're never
doesn't.
getting.
Yeah, it's fine.
And there are people that are still on the Gen 2 blocks.
Oh yeah.
So-
I mean, Erica's HHR has 200,000 miles on it. And like, but past that, they've just gone backwards. And
Yeah.
Like, I will say there is that new Mercedes engine,
Yeah.
the 4-cylinder that
Makes it
might
25.
have it.
It came
beat.
out like 15 years later.
Yeah, like-
like
But
if-
that's
if-
what I'm saying. It's
if-
2007.
Yeah.
what is
like,
it? The CLA?
CLA.
Yeah, CLA.
Yeah.
CLA makes
engine?
a ton of horsepower. But so, and the reason I said that is because that's why everybody like that I had when I had my LSJ, everyone's like, "Oh man, the GM should have put a turbo in it. It should have been way better." Blah blah. And they were technically right.
Well, they
LSJ
did.
makes and the Saab,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the Saab.
B207.
and
Yep.
that makes power better and all that stuff versus that. But you put a turbo in LSJ, it makes globs of power.
Yeah,
And then, but to have a factory turbo car that's marketed as such,
yeah.
it blew people's minds. And there's some people like, oh man, I used to have one of these, like, you know, versus the 3800 stuff that I'm getting that in my Cobalt now. Like, oh, I used to have an LNF Cobalt, you know,
Yep.
that's what they're getting into. And even on the, say, we're not even talking about that, and I know ZZP kind of did someone, but the Kappas. The Kappa was another car that had the potential to be an S2000 cool killer car.
It had the
Mhm.
potential. I think
Yep.
GM killed
GM
it
dropped the ball
because it was a intern project.
again.
Yeah,
It was
between the AR5 and the diff in that car.
Yeah.
it was too short.
Yeah, this caters to Tim, 300 WSM. Like, we have a whole bunch of mods for that car, a whole bunch of them. I mean, my personal Sky made my Sky LNF car, same as yours, made what 360 wheel horsepower on a KO4.
Yeah.
That was like with
Like,
your extrude.
it was
honed
ridiculous.
manifold,
Yeah,
though, right?
it was an extrude honed stock KO4.
Yeah,
With full bolt-ons.
and
so
400 plus
Yeah.
foot-pounds.
Yeah.
yep,
made
over
it so
400 foot-pounds of
Ripped
torque.
the tires off. But Tim, I would say if you're getting a tune, GM stage sensors, our
Yeah.
intercooler kit,
Intercore
intake.
kit is magical on the Kappa.
yeah.
Intake sounds good.
Yep.
Yep.
So
We have an
no,
intake too.
Yeah, GM Stage 1 and Tune, those are, if you guys watch my LNF Top 5 mods video, that breaks it down even for the
The
cap.
best $500 you will ever spend
Yeah,
on a car.
100%.
Yeah.
It's a huge gain reliability wise. So Matt Leach said, that's actually Diamond Fast. So hi, Matt. Good to
Oh.
see you again, man.
Hey, Matt.
Oh, wow.
He said, are you the new CTR K20 stock for stock is better than LF, which could be possible.
No, it's not. They overheat.
They do have a cooling issue on track for sure.
No, like that car has no excuse. It is not even close to comparable to the LNF. It came out like 20 years later, and it's not as good as an LNF. Like, it's ugh.
So
So Matt,
That
he,
Civic.
Tim,
and it's a $40,000 car used,
Well,
pretty much. Like,
An
a
LNF
lot.
in today's money would probably be 40 grand.
it probably would.
no, and LNF, you can buy LNFs all day long for $5.
Well, yeah, yeah.
For
Now.
like $6 to
$6
$10 grand.
versus
He's talking about today's dollar versus,
We're
like,
talking used, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
talking used for the Civic Type R. Like,
But
the
if-
Civic Type R is 30,000 plus.
It's
for a
like-
used
yeah,
one.
but the dollar today versus the dollar when the Cobalt SS came out is slightly different.
Yeah,
That's what we're
I
saying.
mean,
yeah.
if you
I
do the
still don't think
conversion,
it's
if you do the
same.
conversion, the Cobalt SS, they calculate it would be like 41K. Like, it's a
But-
lot.
so-
it's a lot.
But however, yeah. Continue.
Getting back to what you said a little bit earlier, a lot of people don't know that the Saab started with the Ecotec
Yeah.
family 2 that we know today, and the B207L and the B207R were an LSJ with
A
a
turbo.
turbo. And it's funny because there's been this resurgence of Saab people on the Ecotec forums, and they're all the go-to Saab people are like, "Oh, dude, you got to build your engine at 300 wheel,"
And you're like,
What?
and they keep popping up,
yeah,
and it's because if you guys go online and search for a 207R turbo, it is the smallest. It is smaller than the TD.
TD04.
025 that comes
Oh, yeah.
on
It is
the
a
LE2
tiny
1.4.
turbo.
It is so small, and the exhaust manifold is horrible.
Mhm.
And like, it's just funny because you take that exhaust manifold off, and you put an LNF
normal?
manifold on or a T3 manifold on, and that engine will take 500 all day.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was one thing that I was always curious as a customer before I got here. Why didn't we ever get into Saabs? I mean, it was
I
a
think
fancier Cobalt, and I know back then the
ECM.
the
That's
tuning
it. The
support
It
was
was the ECM and a packaging issue, I think.
yeah.
Packaging was very different.
yeah,
from
the
Cobalts.
PCMs were still like, you can't tune them with modern
We had
modern stuff.
B207 Saabs.
Oh,
like
yeah?
we ZZP owned them, but
Okay.
we couldn't get around the tuning, so
Yeah.
it just went nowhere.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you can't adjust the tune, then there's like no.
And
point.
now HP Tuners supports it, but
They do
Yeah.
now finally.
they do. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No kidding.
Yeah, some of the later year 9.3s, not the earlier ones, but like a 03 to 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that was going to be like one of the first LSJs.
And what I learned the other day, the Saab specific PCM is impossibly hard to find now because they mounted it straight to the engine and they all overheat and they cook on the inside.
So that's what it was.
And you can't find them.
Yep.
And so, like, the first thing to do to your Saab is to move the PCM out of the way. But
That is
I've-
insane.
I've
Why
always
would-
loved the idea of a Saab, you know, a turbocharged LSJ. You could get it with an F40.
Mhm.
Yeah, it does
but-
have an F40.
But then you have the weird Europeanness where, like, man, why do I keep saying I did it last week and this week.
Got him.
I wasn't gonna say a thing. But
Well, we all know what's on Tyler's mind. That Europeanness.
so speaking of other models that use Ecotec things, I don't know if anybody else at the table knows. Did you know that Subaru actually used an Ecotec?
Yes.
Over in Japan.
Mhm.
It was in the Subaru Travic. It was LE5.
It was LE5 2.4.
Yeah, it did not
What?
use like an E37 PCM or anything.
No
but I was
kidding.
like, wow. Like in my 2.2 LAP days, I was, researching away. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that was a thing. It was only in Japan. Also, Opel Zafira.
Yep.
used,
Quite a few Opels
LE5.
have. Used
specifically the LE5.
the
was
LE5.
only
Yeah,
used
the
in
LE5 was a
Zafira.
pretty widely used engine, but it is very unique. Like the Saab is always a weird thing. Like I never really understood them, and they're always really obscure. People say, "Oh yeah, certain Saabs are fast," and you have the Saabaroos, but I never really like.
ugh.
I never.
Saabers that have an EJ20 or
20.
25.
25.
Yeah, I think they're 25.
Yeah.
But I like Saabaroos. But it's weird. I never really got into the Saabs. Like I was saying, I was like,
I still, to this day, I check Cars and Bids and all the sites for a 9.3 Vigan. Because I still want one. And they are
You like weird
piles
cars.
of junk now.
Why do you
Like,
like those
comparative
That's
to
the V6 one, right?
the 2.8 turbo.
Yeah, 2.8.
Yep.
2.8.
The
There's
early
a guy
2.8
that's
turbo.
doing or that has a 2.8 turbo Vigan that makes like 600.
Oh, yeah.
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 Like it's possible. Like you hear the one guy doing the cool things, and then you get like, oh, I can do that too. Like, no, it's painful.
But you get into a Saab and you could get engine internals from us and
Yep.
turbo parts, but you're not going to build
It's
a car
just
out
all
of it.
the interior stuff to a Saab that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Like
it's weird.
I don't know how many of you have actually driven one, but the dark mode.
Oh,
Saabs,
it's my favorite feature.
man! You just press
Yeah.
one button and
Yeah.
all the instrument
Yeah,
cluster
that's good.
turns
The
off.
only thing that is there is the mile per hour.
It's your mile per hour. Then the needle. It's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the lights go to
It's
almost
like
nothing.
it's dumb to mention during this podcast, but that was the only thing I could think of when
Yeah.
it comes to
Yeah.
Saabs. That and their what is it, the aircraft marketing back
Yep.
in the day.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So before we end up too far too, just to kind of mention, I know we have a very short amount of time, but the kind of the final generation of that, even though it's still like Family 2, but like the last little hang on left was the LHU.
yeah.
The LHU it traded out 50 horsepower on the rods to make the block strong, make the rods weaker, essentially. But the
I
LHU
get-
Regals are still found today, and actually arguably one of the cooler ones to get. Some
Yeah,
people don't like them.
I love an LHU.
I
Regal.
think a 12 to 13 GS is really sweet. They
they
come with the F40.
look great.
They look great. They ride pretty good. However, it is heavy.
They
That's
are.
like the main thing. Is like
They're hefty
like
boys.
they're like 500 pounds heavier than a Cobalt. No, I'm close to 1,000. Actually,
They are 3,800
Yeah,
pounds.
they're near the
That-
4,000 pounds.
That's why they're slower all the time,
Yeah.
consistently. But it's a good looking car. It is an
They're
Opel.
comfortable.
They're very comfortable.
The stock
You
GS
get you
They're comfortable.
backhanded remark.
the stock GS suspension is really nice, and
Yeah.
it was great for what GM did at the time.
but then they fixed the block in the car.
Yeah.
They fixed the block. The Gen 3 block is like an LHU block, and
Yeah.
it's sandcast now, so it handles 500 out of the get go. However, you put a rod through it at like 380, but whatever.
Yeah.
I know. I'm always fearing that with my car.
Yeah, like but again,
I am curious how much GM saved by switching to the that different rod.
Yeah,
What
12
is it? The
cents.
powdered rod?
12 cents.
It was
per
like tens
car.
of dollars per motor, but they
Yeah.
made like 4 million of them. So
Yeah.
So I do like it is one of those things that like it's funny because ZZP again had me testing stuff back then. I'll never forget it. Matt Miko said we put an experimental block in your car, I was like, okay, cool.
Cool.
It was right after I tried a 2.1 and we found the 2.1 on the LF. Didn't make as much power as like a 2.1.
Yeah.
So I drove around this bike beating the snot out of this car.
Oh, of course.
For like a year and a half. And all of a sudden I blew it up. And I was like, well, guys, I killed experimental block. I'm really sorry. I said, all right, bring it back up to us, blah, blah. Lo and behold, it was a rod piston Gen 3.
LDK, yeah.
LDK.
I feel
beat
like
the snot
all
out
of the
thing for
Ecotec
over
engineers were at the table and they were like, all right, you have $4 to build an engine. You can spend it on this much. And they were like, well, we'll take away from this to give to this. And then that's how we got the LAG.
Yeah.
Well, because really the Gen 2 block on the LNF can handle 450 on the block and 450 at the rods. Both of those break around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it the 50 extra on the block and took the 50 extra out of that and gave it and took it in the rods. Yeah, maybe less, but yeah, it was back.
But man, imagine factory Gen 3 with an
With an
LNF
F
rod
rod, that'd be an easy 600 horsepower block.
all day.
Easy.
All day.
Nuts.
Pub stomp tot. Low IAT codes are not typical.
No, not at all.
Not.
Nope.
Sounds like
Fix it.
wiring thing.
Broken
Yes.
car.
Yeah, busted.
Broken
Broken
car.
car, fixed car.
So, boys, we're kind of nearing the end.
We're nearing the end.
Randy, what are you doing this weekend, guy?
Tail of the Dragon prep. You know?
Pretty
Put
much.
Some roof racks on the Encore, maybe?
Oh my
You're the same, right?
Really? That's what we're doing right now?
Got
Really?
him.
Really? Guys, all right, guys. The next podcast me and Tim are on, I'm going after Tim's head. Like, I am
Next
shooting.
podcast,
I
just
am-
gloves and Tim and
I
Ryan.
just me gloves. We're going at this. Is the second podcast. This boy's trying to call me out on some stuff.
No, this weekend is Tail of the Dragon prep for real. I'll probably just do like plugs, oil change in the green car.
Here he is.
Yep.
That thing just
It runs.
runs so well.
Yep.
Dude, the 1.4s.
We'll talk about that later.
It's a
I
freaking-
rode in Tim's car today, and I
it's a
needed a
freaking
Sonic RS.
Yeah.
You had one.
I had an LTZ. It was.
He had
Same
an
thing.
LTZ. He had the
You have to
poverty
have the
model,
RS.
but-
You have to have the RS.
Fair enough.
That is
if-
the only way, and I need the big block.
Big
Oh my
block.
God.
The 1.41.
Y'all in this big block 1.0001.
You don't even need that. Whenever I have a customer come in with like a 30,000 or less mile Sonic, like it performs nearly the same.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You
yeah.
just can't
You
start
just need
with
to
like
go-
120,000 mile Sonic and put a
Yeah.
Z04 on it
That's-
and expect it to spool
I mean,
before.
That's the only thing I
I'm
ever
gonna
do.
do that in the
so.
winter.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Tyler, what are you doing this weekend?
I am going down to the Indy Half Mile.
Oh yeah, with John Kennedy, right?
John Kennedy's going to be running. Matt Lee. I don't know how to say his last name. Anyway, he has a twin charged Ion that makes like 550, something like that.
Okay.
Pretty sweet. So we're going to go down there, have a good time. It'll be nice and relaxing weekend, hopefully.
and prep for Tail of the Dragon, right?
All I got to do is an oil change.
Huh?
He's already ahead of the game. He's had a bow.
I was going to
Everyone.
do the oil change tonight, but my 17 Ecotec oil filters are all at home. So I can't do that.
What? Tail
I'm
of
gonna
Dragon
do
prep?
some golfing and some Tail of the Dragon prep, even though the car's ready to go.
I'm gonna say yeah.
That, after
So-
today, the car is
true,
ready
yeah.
to go.
So
Sonics
guys,
don't really take a whole lot. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
change some oil, do some plugs.
no,
I'm
Tim,
gonna
Tim has
check
done
the
like
oil.
30 things. He's like, I gotta put a banner on. I gotta adjust this. I gotta.
Banner's
he,
on.
He has do some stuff in the trunk to get like a
Yeah.
subwoofer. Tim has been prepping this thing for like 4 months.
I did see
Yeah.
in the comments somebody asked if we were going to be at the Dragon event, and I was like, yes, but
No.
not the one you're at.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are going at a different time,
Yeah.
just for some solace and
And guys,
some-
the only reason Ryan D is not
And some
going
good
this
weather.
year,
good weather.
I unfortunately
I
just
shouldn't
ran
have
into
said that.
stuff with responsibilities of paying for my son to go to preschool and other being brokenness.
Yeah, it's all right.
So next year, I got to get back. I haven't
Hey,
been in
Sounds
like 2 or 3
sounds
years.
I haven't
you're
been in
pulling that
5 years,
Mason
so-
excuse.
Are you going to turn it up?
Turn it up.
Yeah, when you go, are you going to turn it up?
Hopefully,
Are we going to be
Ooh.
back to old school Ryan Derrick?
I'm hoping so. I'm ready to be back there with being old school.
Am I going to like see Ryan Derrick in my rear view?
Yeah, you're not gonna see the hood. You're gonna see me. I'm gonna be like in your trunk.
Sounds good to me.
I also want
I'm in.
3 mics hard Ryan Derrick
Oh,
at the
man.
dinner
Oh, man.
table.
Oh man, y'all ain't ready for that. Like I'm ready to have fun again with that one. Good times.
But anyway, Ryan, what are you doing?
So this week I haven't really decided. Me and Isaiah are gonna probably figure out some stuff to do. I think there's some water thing tomorrow or something. I'm gonna figure out.
Water.
Yeah, some water kid thing I'm supposed to go to. But I don't know. Dad stuff. Cut the grass. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not playing D&D because my friends are going up north to hang out. Didn't invite me. You know, I always tell you guys I need better friends. But
We
you know.
invited you last night.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, you got. I'm not talking about
we
you guys.
invite you to everything.
Now you do. Anyway, no. So I'm gonna have a chill weekend. I'm gonna have it just chill.
Chill weekend sounds great because the next like 18 weekends
Yeah,
for me
August.
are.
After
so
today,
much.
August is done.
Yeah.
Oh, August
So
is
much.
gone.
Yeah.
Completely.
Also, we're facing an oil leak in my car. If that forces, and we're getting this thing back on the dyno to do some testing for a certain part that Matt Leach is in here for, it just needs to stop leaking oil.
Yep.
It's leaking oil. We need to fix it. And once that's fixed, we're good.
Well,
Yep.
that's what happens when you have a one-off custom.
Yeah, that is true.
turbo
100%.
setup.
And I get it. I get why. It just stop leaking oil.
And that's why we don't sell things like that.
Yes.
Because
That's why we need it here so we can do the testing and do all the stuff. Anyway,
get a 257. Go
Great
make
car.
500 wheel.
Go make 500 wheel. Go enjoy your car.
Go have fun. Ecotechs are great.
We love Ecotec.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Oh, really quick story. So, Taylor Lear, real quick. Taylor Lear,
Yep.
he's a tuner down at CCO Performance, has a 600 wheel horse, 650 wheel horsepower ion red line that has our turbo kit on it.
Mm-hmm.
He tunes 2,000 horsepower GTR still to this day. He says his favorite car is still the iron because they don't feel fast. The iron feels like a joyride from hell every time you're going through there.
Yeah.
It's the
To add
drama.
on that,
Yep.
a Delta chassis car making anywhere north of 400 wheel
It's
horsepower
insane.
is so fun because it feels so wrong.
Yes.
So violent.
So violent. Like a 400 wheel LTG is just like
Yeah, for my ATS, it is at beat stuff in it,
Yep.
but it's like I'm getting my Cobalt 35 pounds.
Like the little brother from Wild Thornberry.
Yeah.
Yep, that's you.
All right, guys. I think we're good. I had to end off on a good Ryan D note. Kind of turn up the energy in this piece.
Yeah.
That's gonna get real and clipped. I know 100%.
Oh yeah,
it is.
100%.
So see, they clip that.
All
so.
right. We'll catch you
Have
next
a good one,
time.
guys. Have a good
Have a
weekend.
good weekend.
Running the Donnie reference. I love it.